Good morning. Today I am going to start Unit 4 Transport Layer. The first topic is Introduction to Transport Layer. So the transport layer is located between the application layer and the network layer. It provides process-to-process communication between two application layers. One located at the local host and other located at the remote host. And communication is providing using the logical connection between those two hosts. This is the logical connection in transport layer. So this is the source, this is the center. Okay, the source layer, the transport layer send the data into the transport layer at the destination site. So this is the path from this transport layer to this transport layer. This is the logical connection between the two transport layer, the source and the destination. So the transport layer services. So next one is transport layer services. So basically the transport layer is responsible for providing services to the application layer. So it also receives service from the network layer. So these are the services provided by the transport layer: process-to-process communication, addressing, encapsulation, decapsulation, and multiplexing and demultiplexing. The first one is process-to-process communications. So this is provided by the transport layer. A process is an application layer entity or running program that uses the services of the transport layer. So what is the difference between host-to-host communication and process-to-process communication? The network layer, it is responsible for communication at the computer level, that is host-to-host communication. Network layer protocol can deliver the message only to the destination computer. This is an incomplete delivery. Okay, so the message still needs to be handled to the correct process. Then this is the where transport layer protocol takes over. Okay, the transport layer protocol is responsible for delivery of the message to the appropriate process. Okay, so this is the network layer versus transport layer. This is the client and this is the server. This is the processes, different process. So the transport layer is provided host-to-host communication. So on host, this is the other host. It's provided host-to-host communication, but in domain of transport layers, it provides a process-to-process communication because each and every host contains a different process. So the transport layer provides the process-to-process communications. So next services provided by transport layer is addressing, that is port numbers. So there are few ways to achieve process-to-process communication. The most common is through the client-server program. A process on the local host called client and remote host called server. So the local host and the remote host are defined using IP addresses. Okay, but to define the processes, we have to define a second identifier. It is called port numbers. In TCP/IP protocol suite, the port numbers are integers between 0 to 65,535. That is 16 bits. So it contains two ports, ephemeral port and well-known ports. So ephemeral port means it is used by the client program. So this means short-lived. So the ephemeral port numbers is recommended to be greater than 1023 for some client and server programs to work properly. Then well-known port number means it is used by the server. So this is the IP address versus port numbers. This is the application and transport layer. This is the port number. Okay, so destination port number, select the process. This is the IP address. So destination IP address, select the server. So this is the difference between IP address and port number. So port number, select the process, and the IP address, select the server. So this is the icon ranges. So the icon ranges divided into normally the port numbers is divided into three ranges. It is well-known, registered port, and dynamic ports. The well-known port is range of well-known port is from 0 to 1023. So it is assigned and controlled by icon. So these are well-known ports. Next one is registered port. This is ranging from 1024 to 49,151. It is not controlled or assigned by the ICANN. They can only register with ICANN to prevent duplications. Next one is dynamic port, ranging from 49,152 to 65,535. Okay, it is neither controller or neither register. They can use as a temporary or private port numbers. This is the ICANN ranges of different port numbers. So let's see the example of let's see one example in Unix. This is the port number. Okay, this is the port number, FTP port number. This is port number for TCP and another port number for UDP. Okay, see in SNMP, so this is the two port numbers, that is 161 and 162. So next one is socket address. So the transport layer protocol in the TCP suite needs both IP address and transport numbers at each end to make a connection. So socket address is nothing but is the combination of IP address and the port number. Okay, this is the IP address, this is the port number. Socket address is nothing but the combination of IP address and port number. Okay, so the client socket address defines the client process uniquely, just as the server socket address defines the server process uniquely. So next one is encapsulation, decapsulation. Okay, to send a message from one process to another, the transport layer needs to encapsulate and decapsulate the message. So encapsulate happen as the sender side. So it is nothing but the whole packet when a process has to message to send, so it processes the message to the transport layer along with a pair of socket address and some other piece of information. So that is depend on the transport layer protocol. So the transport layer receives the data and adds the transport layer header. This is called encapsulation. Decapsulation can happen at the receiver side. So the message arrives at the destination transport layer. The header is dropped and the transport layer extracts the information from that header. This is called decapsulation. So this is the encapsulation and the logical connection between two devices. This is the decapsulation. So the message is encapsulated into the header, then message is decapsulated from that payload information. So next one is multiplexing and demultiplexing. So multiplexing means whenever entity accepts items from more than one sources, this is referred to multiplexing. That is many to one. Then whenever an entity delivers items to more than one source, that is called demultiplexing. That is one to many. Okay, this is the multiplexing messages M1, M2, M3, then multiplexer. Okay, then this is the demultiplexing. So next service is provided by transport layer is flow control. So this is nothing but is the balance flow between the consumer and the producer. Okay, so but okay, so it is must be balanced. Okay, so one technique is used in flow control. It is pushing and pulling. So delivery of items from a producer to a consumer can occur in one of two ways. That is pushing or pulling. Okay, so if the sender delivers items whenever they are produced without a prior request from the consumer, the delivery is referred pushing. But if the producer delivers the items after the consumer has requested them, this is called pulling. Okay, let's see the pictorial representation. So pushing, the producer and consumer. So producer delivers the item to consumer. So this is the flow control. Okay, whenever the producer pushing the items, so pushing the items, the consumer may be overwhelmed and there is need for flow control. Okay, so in the opposite direction to prevent discarding of the items. Okay, so then pulling means so request. So they send the request to stop producing the item. This is called pushing and pulling. So the consumer, when the consumer pull the items to producer, so it requests them when it's ready. So in this case, there is no need for flow control. Next one is flow control at the transport layer. So in the communication at the transport layer, we are dealing with 4 entities. The first one is sender process. So next one is sender process, transport layer at sender process, then receiver process, then the transport layer at receiver process. Okay, the sender process at the application layer is only a producer. Sender process application layer only a producer. Application layer is only a producer. The sending it produces the message chunks to pushes them into the transport layer. The sending transport layer has 2 double role. It is both consumer and the producer. So it consumes message pushed by the application layer producer, and it can encapsulate the message in packet and pushes them into the receiving transport layer. Okay, so receiving transport layer. So the receiving transport layer also has the double role. It is the consumer for the packet received from the sender, and the producer decapsulates the message and deliver them to the application layer. So the last delivery, however, is normally the pulling delivery. Okay, so that is pulling delivery. So these the transport layer waits until the application layer process to ask us for messages. This is the flow control at transport layer. So in this process, it uses 2 buffers. So one at the sending transport layer, another at the receiving transport layer. The buffer is a set of some memory location that hold packets at the sender and receiver. So which is used to control the flow of the sender and receiver. So next one is error control at the transport layer. Okay, so IP is an unreliable network layer. So to make the transport layer reliable, the application requires reliability. So reliability can be achieved to add error control services to the transport layer. Okay, so the transport layer sends the packets, and the error control mechanism ensured by the receiver to invoke the sender. So it consists the error control transmission is responsible for 4 things. That is directly discarding corrupted packets, and second one is keeping track of lost and discarded packets and resending them. The third one is recognizing duplicate packets and discarding them. Then fourth one is buffering out of ordered packets until the missing packets are. Okay, this is the error control at the transport layer. So next one is sequence number, which is used to find the current flow of the receiving packets. So which can be, this is the combination of which is used to, sliding window, which is used to provide the combination of flow control and the error control. So first the 4 packets have been sent. So this is the sequence number of outstanding packets. Okay, the sequence number of next packet to send. Okay, so similarly remaining packets are sent. Okay, sliding window, since the sequence number use modulo of 2 power n, so a circuit can represent the sequence number from 0 to 2 power n minus 1. Okay, so the buffers is represented as a set of slices that is called sliding window. This is the flow control. It's a sequence number representation in sliding window concept. So this is the sliding window in linear format. In transport layer, 2 services are there. Connectionless, connection oriented. So connectionless, it is without giving any request and response message. You have to send the message to each and every sender or receiver. In connection oriented service, before going to start the communication, we have to establish the connection. After that, we can send the message from source to destination.